Hi, I'm going to quickly walk you through how to use Doctopus if you are not using Google Classroom because it's slightly different. So you're still going to go up here into add-ons, and if you haven't already, you want to go into Get Add-ons and search for Doctopus. It'll look like this, and you'll add it to your account, and you'll have to allow it access to your account. Okay, once Doctopus is added, you're going to go in here and launch Doctopus. Once Doctopus is launched, you want to dismiss this and you want to choose to distribute a drive resource to a roster. And you can do one of two things here. You can set up a roster ahead of time in a spreadsheet, or you can just add it right to this spreadsheet. I tend to copy and paste from previous rosters. So I'm going to just go to build a new roster here just to show you how to do it. And then you're going to build it on this sheet. Okay. And then you click Create Roster. And it's going to populate the fields for you. Now, the most important thing here is that their emails actually end up in the column that is labeled email. Other than that, I usually do their name and their student number because that works for me. So I'm going to go up and I'm just going to copy and paste my old roster. So you'll see me, I'm copying and pasting right now. I'm just highlighting. Copy, then come over here and paste. Okay. Now my roster has been built. So if you get your rosters from some database that has your class lists in it and you can export them to an Excel spreadsheet, you can just type the names in if that's faster for you. The most important thing is that their email addresses end up in the email column, okay? And then you can call this, whatever you want. I always call it by the name of my class, so it's 2018 Spring, then English 101 roster, okay? Or if you do it every time, you can name it by the assignment. It's up to you, okay? Now, there's a little box here called Create Class Folders. What this does is if you check it off, it creates a folder on your Google Drive for every single student on your roster, okay? You can do that, and when you do that, if you always use the same rosters, all of their assignments end up in the same folder, okay? I don't do it that way because I like to group my Google Drive by assignment rather than by student. So if I go into the folder, I see all of the same assignment instead of all of the assignments by one student, okay? That's personal preference. Okay. So I'm giving my roster a name. I'm going to call this demo because I already have a roster called this. And I'm going to save roster and continue. The next screen that's going to come up is going to ask you, how would you like to copy and distribute folders for this assignment? So this is really great if you need to share an assignment with your whole class and you don't want to write their email in every time. And you can decide how you want it saved. It gives you pretty detailed explanations here. I always just do individual. They all get the same document. And then when you scroll down, you can decide if you want students to access each other's assignments. I say no. You can allow students to edit, view. It's up to you, okay? And if you created folders, then you want to assign it to their folders, okay? And if you teach with somebody else, you can add them here too, because that gives them more advanced access to the things that your students will submit. I'm going to click Save and Continue. The next part is the assignment template. Now, this is not as complicated as it sounds, but what you're going to do is you're going to go into your Google Drive and create a document, and it can just be a blank document. And this is the document that your students will type their assignment in. So I'm going to go into Choose Folder. And I'm going to go to, of course, I'm not going to be able to find it because this, I'm going to go to Doctopus template because that's where I keep my Doctopus templates. Now that I have assigned my folder, I'm going to go over here, dismiss this, okay? And and I'm going to select the template. So I already have one made up. It's blank document template. I'm going to select that. Let me show you what this looks like in your Google Drive. So here is my Google Drive, okay? And I have a folder called Doctopus template. And in here, it's just a blank document. If you open the document, you can see all I did was have it set up in MLA format. And then the students, when they get this, will type their name and the name of the assignment that they're completing, okay? What Doctopus does for you is it takes this document that we're looking at here and it makes a copy of it for every single student on your roster. This is very helpful because they have a copy of what you would like them to write up, and you can access it without looking all over for it or having a bunch of notifications or having your share folder filled with documents. So you select your template. Some people have different templates. It's a matter of personal preference. Save and continue. Okay. Now you're going to decide if you want a new folder created for this. Okay. So I'm using this as my demo, but I'm actually going to use it for a real assignment. So I'm going to call this folder homework due on February 14th. Okay. And then how do you want their files named? So it's going to be their last name, their first name, and then it's going to be 214 homework. So now each student's file is going to have their name and the label of the homework. Now, if you look at my spreadsheet here, I actually have their student numbers in the last name field, so I can even delete this and just have first name and homework, and that's going to give me their full name. Depends on how you set up your spreadsheet. And then you can decide if you want to send a notification to them. I usually do. Scroll down. Oh, and you have to decide where you want all of this to go. I always create a new folder because then when I go into my Google Drive, all of the assignments for that day are in a folder. So here, I'll show you how that looks. So if I go into my Drive now, look right here, there's a folder that will have all of the student assignments in it. And then save and continue. So it's just going to take a second. It's going to populate all these fields for you. And now this is going to come up. It's going to show you what the notification will look like. You want to click run, copy, and share. And this is where it sends everything to your students. So now it says all jobs completed, which is great. And you want to click manage and assess this assignment. This is what makes this tool completely worth setting it up, because in this next screen, you're going to be able to attach a rubric, which is awesome. So if you go to attach a rubric, it's going to bring up your Google Drive folder. And what you can do here is you can choose a rubric. So I'm going to choose my writing rubric. I'm not allowing peer assessment. I'm not sending a notice, but I'm going to let them see it and then click attach rubric. I'm going to show you what this looks like in your Google Drive. So in your Google Drive, what you have to do is you have to take your writing whatever rubric you want to use. It can be any rubric. And you have to put it into a spreadsheet, which is usually a matter of copying and pasting. But the only criteria it has to meet is the categories of the rubric have to be in the left column, and the scoring or quality criteria have to be across the top. I've used both numbers and quality. It works fine either way. It just has to be set up in this manner, okay? So it's going to tag all of the students in this file, which takes a minute, but it's not too long. And if you have a co-teacher, it'll share it with them, which is, again, super handy if you're in a multiple teacher classroom. And then it's going to add a link to the spreadsheet. So here, let me show you the other piece of magic. So you now have a rubric attached and an assignment shared, okay? Now, say your assignment was due today and you don't want your students to make any more changes to their documents. Since this is Google and they're live documents, what you want to do is click Embargo Docs for Grading. And what that does is it freezes it and they can't make any more changes to it. Okay. And then when you're ready to send it back to them, you click Transfer Ownership to Students. So this is wonderful tool, especially if you're worried about them making changes to documents. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do, now that your assignment is completed, you are going to come over here and you're going to click Assess Document, and you click this and a new window is going to open up. And what it'll give you is the student's assignment down here. Now, this hasn't been completed yet, right? But the student's assignment will be down here and your rubric is up top, and you can click through and choose their category. You can leave them comments here, or you can leave them audio comments. And when you click Submit, the rubric gets pasted at the bottom of the document with all of your comments, and you just click Next and move on to your next paper. So it definitely saves time for looking through files on your Google Drive, and it allows the students the instant sharing without the complications of email or having a ton of documents emailed to you. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.